Disclaimer. The video serves informational and entertainment purpose only. The content is considered speculative and should not be treated as confirmed fact. We encourage you to conduct your research and form your conclusion. She just broke down on the set of Evita. And honestly, nobody saw this coming. Rachel Zegler, the 23-year-old who went from unknown teenager to Golden Globe winner, allegedly collapsed while filming one of musical theater's most demanding roles. Reports were already hinting at her mental strain, with Rachel reportedly looking for a therapist after the Snow White flop. But what really happened on that set? A performance that started with such raw power, ended with Rachel walking off set in tears. And that's not all, besties. Just as we thought the dust was settling, Rachel Zegler just crossed a line even her critics didn't see coming. In a move that's already sending shock waves through Hollywood and infuriating theater purists, Zegler reportedly demanded the Evita script be rewritten, calling the original story offensive to marginalized communities. A decades-old musical, beloved by millions, is now allegedly being reimagined to fit modern sensitivities. And Rachel Zegler is leading the charge. This isn't just about a bad performance or a controversial opinion. This is a cultural bomb, exploding in real time, pulling back the curtain on Hollywood's deepest secrets. What made her snap? Is she truly in her villain era, as she herself recently pondered? Or is this a calculated power play unmasked? What happened when she reportedly told her producers to overhaul a classic? And who's really pulling the strings behind the curtain? Because what comes next might just change everything you thought you knew about Hollywood, about activism, and about the brutal cost of fame.
Rachel Zegler is back in the news because her PR team is working overtime right now to fix her image because so many of these resurfaced video clips of her just make her look really, really bad. What matters here is perception. Who she actually is actually has little consequence on any of this. How she's perceived by the world. That's what matters. Right. And how she's perceived by the world is not good because she hasn't been able to escape these interview clips, which show a clear disdain for the company she works for, a clear disdain for the story in which she's been hired to help portray and tell. Who she is really has little bearing on any of this. At the end of the day, Disney doesn't care who she really is. I'm sure the people that love her, her friends and family, she's plenty nice to them. That's not what matters here.
I absolutely loved it, as per everything of the clips. It's amazing.
Brilliant, awesome, really good.
Yeah, as always, the good to expect. Cast was fantastic, beautiful, very well produced.
Loads of really good dancing. The acting was absolutely amazing. You'd never know it was teenagers. You'd think it was professionals.
I'm amazed at how mature everyone is, given that it's literal musical youth. Portraying these complex characters in history.
It's brilliantly staged. I think I learned something tonight that I didn't know already.
Great singing, great dancing, and learn more about something that you might not have known.
It's really moving, it's really poignant to the end. That really works for me. The whole thing's fantastic. And visually, it kept you engaged all the way through.
It was just a fantastic story, just a really good evening out.
So this is something that just happened in London. This is Rachel Zegler as Eva Peron in the upcoming West End revival of Evita at the London Palladium, directed by Jamie Lloyd. There had been speculation that they might be using the actual balcony of the theatre on the outside above the marquee to perform Don't Cry for Me Argentina and have it broadcast via live camera feed into the auditorium, potentially on a screen, just like in Sunset Boulevard with the whole walking around thing. I am still undecided as to whether that's exactly what this is, or if this is going to be like a pre-recorded element that they're going to use, or if this is all a major publicity stunt, or if this is for promotional footage. It seems, I think she's wearing a robe here, so it seems like this is test footage, and it is something they are rehearsing in order to do live, which I have mixed feelings about, because, you know, it's the most important song of the show, it's the biggest song of the show, and the people who bought tickets to be inside the theatre kind of want to see it performed live at the same time. It's the stuff that makes these Jamie Lloyd shows so exciting. What do you think?
Imagine the glitz, the glamour, the unseen beginning of a fairy tale. Rachel Zegler, discovered by Steven Spielberg, skyrocketing from an unknown teenager to a Golden Globe winner with West Side Story. She was the chosen one, positioned as the future of Disney princesses, ready to lead a billion-dollar legacy. This was her crowning moment, a seemingly perfect trajectory. But as we've seen, every fairy tale has its shadows. The cultural stakes here are enormous. She wasn't just cast in a role, she became the symbol of a new era, tasked with reimagining beloved classics. This brought immeasurable pressure, a weight few young stars could bear. And then, the sudden shift. While performing on stage for Evita, her voice powerful, her body trembling with the character's weight, something snapped. The performance ended with Rachel walking off set in tears. This wasn't just a bad day, it was the culmination of months, years even, of intense scrutiny, fueled by constant online criticism and the relentless pressure to perform perfectly. Behind the dazzling smile, a different story was allegedly brewing, revealing cracks behind the persona. The Hollywood blacklist, conspiracy or reality, began to whisper around her name. Was she being punished for her woke remarks? Or was Hollywood itself becoming too woke? Her bold stances on pay gaps and diversity, while admirable to some, made her a target. The tension coiled, palpable and crushing, as a star's dream began to unravel under the harsh glare of public judgment. And it was about to get far, far worse. And then the explosion hit, a cultural bomb far more devastating than any box office flop. Just as everyone thought Rachel Zegler might be softening her image, she allegedly committed the cardinal sin. She demanded the Evita script be rewritten. This wasn't a quiet suggestion. This was a reported power play unmasked, where Zegler allegedly insisted on sweeping changes to entire scenes, lyrics, and even character dynamics, deeming the original offensive to marginalized communities. The reaction was instantaneous and fury-filled. Fans of the original Evita, and even those barely familiar with the musical, flooded social media. Hashtags like #NotMyEvita trended, turning the conflict into traditionalists versus revisionists. This wasn't just a creative debate. It felt like a performer, backed by a powerful PR machine, was attempting to rewrite a sacred cultural text. One viral post raged, "Zegler didn't sign on to honor the story, she signed on to rewrite it in her own image." This revealed a deep-seated perceived hypocrisy, a star accepting an iconic role only to allegedly dismantle its core. The backlash wasn't confined to online snark. Prominent voices in the theater world, historians, and even former Eva Peron performers expressed shock at the audacity of rewriting such a piece. Behind the curtain, whispers intensified. The rewrite demands allegedly triggered serious tension with the creative team. The director, reportedly furious, found longtime collaborators feeling blindsided. Some cast members quietly questioned if the story was even Evita anymore. This clash wasn't just creative, it was philosophical. Traditionalists wanted to preserve the soul, while Zegler, according to leaks, wanted to reconstruct it entirely. The environment became a war zone of egos, making it clear that behind the persona, a very different battle was raging, with unanswered allegations of artistic betrayal hanging heavy in the air. The stage was set, not for a performance, but for an all-out war.
Rachel Zegler just celebrated her birthday, but she didn't make it a simple thing where she went after her critics, trashing them as bad people.
It's gone viral.
It's gone viral.
Has it? I hope so. I hope so.
Oh God, okay. Am I in my villain era or in my hero era?
That's because she's half Colombian and half Polish, and being mixed race, there's going to be some people upset whenever she's cast for a role that's traditionally white or traditionally Hispanic.
I hope I'm always in my hero era. I think we should all be in our reputation era.
Now it looks like the damage control is continuing. It's almost like someone finally gave Rachel Zegler a script to use. Rachel Zegler is addressing the multi-pronged backlash she faced. I interpret people's feelings about this film as their passion for her, and what an honor to be part of something for which people feel such passion. We're not always going to have the same sentiments as those around us, and all that we can do is give the best of ourselves. If this isn't complete 180 damage control, I don't know what is. Gee, this is the same person who stood up there and all over the original multiple times. This is the same person who only months ago basically was all over people that had a problem with her. This is the same person who said, I don't need Trump supporters going to support my movie if you disagree differently than myself politically. All of a sudden told this woman exactly what to say. The problem is, this is too little too late.
It becomes more and more apparent that the current young generation of Hollywood actors are just a bunch of self-entitled a-holes. This guy Jacob Elordi sat there and he was like, I'm not going to play Superman because it's too dark of a role. But then he comes out and he's like, I'll just do anything. Check this out.
I mean, I'll just play what they give me. You know, I need a job.
But watching him say that reminds me exactly of Rachel Zegler.
What made you want to step into this world of DC heroes? I needed a job. I'm being so serious.
And she just seemed so incredibly smug when she said that. I never want to see anything with her in it ever again.
And the proof kept piling up. a relentless, chaotic info storm exposing the cracks behind the persona. While her PR team worked overtime, the internet dug deeper, unearthing Rachel Zegler's past interviews, clips showing a clear disdain for the very stories she was hired to portray. This wasn't just a misstep, it was an alleged pattern of disrespect, fueling the woke flop narrative. Remember her Snow White comments? Now every time she talks, fans are holding their breath, waiting for the next perceived gaffe. The theater flop wasn't just a bad night. It was Hollywood's wake-up call wrapped in empty seats. The London Palladium, a massive, iconic venue, saw tumbleweeds night after night for Evita. Claims of $4 million in pre-sales before her casting were torn apart on Reddit, labeled PR fairy dust to manufacture hype. Theater, unlike film, doesn't lie. You can't Photoshop a crowd, you can't CGI enthusiasm. When nobody shows up, you're literally performing to ghosts. This served as brutal evidence that the audience simply wasn't buying what Hollywood was selling, especially when it felt forced down our throats. The unanswered allegations of her demanding Evita rewrites, altering a cultural monument to fit a modern ideology, only amplified the outrage. Leaks from production sources claimed she came with a detailed list, flagging entire sections as harmful or tone-deaf, pushing for a more feminist, intersectional Eva Peron. The creative team was reportedly stunned, feeling the heart of the story was being lost. One crew member described rehearsals as a war zone of egos. Even her Snow White co-star, Gal Gadot, subtly hinted at many setbacks and a lack of teamwork during production, fueling speculation about Zegler's alleged behavior. This wasn't just artistic differences. It was a perceived erasure of history, an insult to cultural reverence. Every single clip, every single empty seat, every single whisper painted a picture of a star losing touch and an industry scrambling to protect its investment. And here, we witness the crushing irony, the kind of poetic justice that only Hollywood can deliver with such brutal precision. Rachel Zegler, once touted as the radiant future of Disney princesses, now finds herself at the heart of a chilling retirement riddle, one not born of her own choosing, but seemingly imposed by the very studio that once crowned her. Her digital disappearance from Disney+, the quiet scrubbing of her profile, the vanishing act from promotional materials. This wasn't a sudden public firing. This was a surgical erasure, a strategic pulling of the plug designed to minimize fallout without admitting a single thing. The irony, besties, is deafening. For a company built on perfect images and flawless illusions, when those illusions crack, they don't fix them. They simply replace them. Rachel Zegler didn't vanish overnight with a dramatic headline. Instead, she became the subject of a terrifyingly quiet, insidious process that only happens in the deepest corners of Hollywood PR. One missing tile at a time, one silent decision at a time, she was erased. The studio that once branded her as the face of their future now won't even acknowledge her name on their flagship platform. This is the ultimate corporate move. When a project or a star becomes too toxic to touch, the safest, most subtle move is to pretend they never happened. This unfolding aftermath also saw her highly anticipated Broadway debut in Evita reportedly implode, with whispers of chaos and her being uncoachable. The contrast behind the persona between her public image and these alleged private actions is stark. Disney, the ultimate puppet master of its brand, simply made her disappear. Her silence, her alleged firing of her entire team, it all screams a desperate loss of control. The fairy tale is over, and the happily ever after, it's been quietly canceled. But the final haunting question remains. Is this the end of her story, or just the silent prelude to something even more drastic?
Rachel Zegler committed the cardinal sin of posting a photo of herself that she liked on Instagram, and maidenless fellows seem to have interpreted that as their sort of bat signal. It's just such a weird thing for the Geeks and Gamers Twitter to be reporting on. Like, I guess this website needed to know that weirdos are calling a woman ugly for some reason. But of course, the purpose of posts like these is to sanitize terrible internet behavior, right? She's not catching heat. This isn't some sort of controversial hot take. She just posted a photo of her face and implied that she liked it. And I know that this is a fairly necessarily mild example, but just as a word of advice to people in this sphere, if you don't want to be known as the people who harass folks you dislike for completely unrelated, crappy reasons, these are your opportunities to condemn that and to excise it from your community. Just don't be shocked that you keep getting those accusations when you're very much the ones cultivating it. And in the event that Geeks and Gamers fans do find this, I have a pretty good idea of what you're going to comment over and over again, and I just hope you guys know you're not clever, or funny.
You would have to be living under a rock to not know about all of the backlash that Rachel Zegler has been getting for being a complete bozo when it comes to the upcoming Snow White movie that she's starring in. Every time I see this video, I just keep reminding myself that she is an actress. You can tell that she's acting. Check this out.
And other people think I'm doing gracefully, and I don't think I'm doing it at all. So when I tell you that it's hard, I just mean to be inside my brain. That's hard.
It's so hard for me to go out there and be an actress and make hundreds of thousands of dollars and then say stupid things when I'm in the limelight. Rachel Zegler should probably come out and just throw all of the seven magical creatures under the bus and turn everybody's gaze to them so that way she stops taking so much heat.
So, besties, here we stand, at the edge of the unfolding aftermath. Rachel Zegler, the once heralded star, has gone from the future of Disney to a ghost in their digital archives. Snow White, her supposed crowning glory, sits as the lowest-rated Disney princess film. Her Broadway comeback allegedly imploded. Her entire team summarily dismissed. And through it all, her voice remains silent. A silence that screams volumes in a world where every celebrity post is a calculated move. This isn't just about a bad movie. It's about the ruthless efficiency of a corporate titan. Disney, the ultimate puppet master of its brand, doesn't like mess. When a star becomes a liability, especially one tied to $1 billion legacy, the response isn't loud, it's surgical. All signs point to a very deliberate strategy behind the scenes. A quiet retirement riddle, an almost complete erasure. One missing tile at a time, one silent decision at a time, she was erased. The studio that once branded her as the face of their future now won't even acknowledge her name on their flagship platform. No co-stars defending her, no publicists cleaning it up, not even a statement from Disney pretending to support her. Just silence. Because in this business, being controversial is survivable. Even failure is forgivable. But when your brand becomes a liability to their brand, that's when the quiet deletion begins. So tell me, was this the final nail in Rachel Zegler's career coffin? Or will she manage a comeback, somehow reclaiming her narrative from the shadows of this unprecedented digital erasure? Time will tell, but if the Disney Plus blackout is any indication, the fairy tale is over, and the happily ever after, it's been quietly canceled. So, besties, here we stand, at the edge of the unfolding aftermath. Rachel Zegler, the once heralded star, has gone from the future of Disney to a ghost in their digital archives. Snow White, her supposed crowning glory, sits as the lowest-rated Disney princess film. Her Broadway comeback allegedly imploded. Her entire team summarily dismissed. And through it all, her voice remains silent. A silence that screams volumes in a world where every celebrity post is a calculated move. And that's the tea for today, my little gossip gremlins. If you enjoyed this drama buffet, don't forget to hit that like button like it's your ex's new partner's Instagram. Aggressively and with zero shame. Beauty. Subscribe to Fame Files so you never miss a single scandal, meltdown, or red carpet disaster. I'm literally serving up hot gossip every single day, even if my Wi-Fi begs me to stop. And listen, be a doll and tap that bell too, okay? Because your girl Macy's got bills to pay, celeb egos to roast, and a grocery cart full of overpriced almond milk that won't buy itself. Shopping cart money. So until next time, stay nosy, stay fabulous, and remember, I spill it so you don't have to sip in silence. Bye.